Actually, now we are live.
Okay. You want to start?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Actually, I was just there's some error that happened,
No
huh?
worries.
So we can sorry, huh? Hi everyone, this is Anamika, and today we are joined by Pavitra Giridharan, author of Gallivanting with Ganesh, the first book in the Puzzle Box Adventure series. It's a delightful children's story where two kids discover a magical puzzle box and suddenly find themselves stepping into the world of Hindu mythology guided by Lord Ganesha himself. It's a warm, imaginative way of young readers to connect with their heritage through adventure. Pavitraji, it is wonderful to have you here. Hi,
Namaste.
Pavitraji.
Hi, Anamika.
Namaste.
Nice. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. It's wonderful to be here.
Thank, thank you so much. So, there's some glitch happened. Apologies for that.
No worries.
So, I was just telling you that I'm just done with World Book Festival in Delhi, and I browsed through all the main stalls, and there was a huge kids section which was predominantly dominated by Western literature, and there was one stall of Amar Chitrakatha, but hardly Indian literature, Indian kids literature in those huge stalls. So you say that you wanted Hinduism represented more in children's literature in America. So what was the moment when you realized that this there was a gap and it has to be filled?
So, about when my kids were younger, my son is 22, my daughter is 17. So, and they were very avid readers. My daughter still is. I think my son has now moved to anime now, but he still
Okay.
reads. But when they were really young, I kept looking for chapter books on Hindu gods, stories from Itihasas, Puranas, that were exciting for them. They were not just narration, just
Hmm.
saying the story. We wanted something more. And both my
Hmm.
husband and I, we collect a lot of books, we read a lot of books. So we kept looking, but we couldn't find. My kids love, even now, love Amar Chitrakatha. I love Amar Chitrakatha, but that's not a chapter book. And
Hmm.
sometimes I find the chapter book entices them more, it captures their imagination because there are words, but you also have to imagine it in your head. In Amar Chitrakatha, everything is laid out, the pictures are laid out. So
Hmm.
that was one of the reasons I was thinking about it. And when I was about 10, 15 years ago, I always wanted to write a picture book for kids, a kids' picture book. Not, I didn't even think anything related to Hinduism. It was just a picture book that I had an ambition to do that. And then 8 years ago, I met with Dr. Prasad Kaipa, who is the co founder of the Institute of Indic Wisdom. And he had visited our house and he was like, "Why don't you write a book?" And I was like,
Okay.
"I can't write. This is not something I was thinking about." I love reading. So I used to read Percy Jackson series, like all the young adult fiction about Greek mythology. And I found our kids love them. So why not
Hmm.
we have about our own gods, right? I'm not saying we shouldn't read
Hmm.
about other gods. Yes, we should expand our knowledge.
Sure.
We have to read as much
Hmm.
as we can, but we should also have representation of our Hindu gods, Hinduism in the kids' literature, which was what motivated me to start thinking about this and start writing. It's been a long journey, but I'm glad finally we have the book out here and I'm very excited about it. And I have to thank Garuda for it.
So you took 8 years to write this book, and you started writing this book when your kids were at that age that they didn't have
Yes,
children's
yes,
literature,
yes.
and now they are at that age that it's
Yeah,
past their age.
they have much past it. I'm hoping other kids can benefit from it. So the 8 years were there were a lot of obstacles in the path. It was not. I started it. It was a hobby. Sometimes
Hmm,
your hobbies, your life comes in the way of your hobbies. When I have time, I went back
that
to
is
it.
true.
But I think the real journey started 3 years ago when I really decided I need to get my act together. Work on it. So that's when the actual work started.
Hmm. So, what is the kind of research that one has to do to write kids' literature? At that time, AI was not there.
Yeah,
I mean.
I know AI has changed the world, but I am very wary of AI. I am in academia. I am a professor of psychology in my day job. And so we're
Hmm,
always, I embrace technology, I embrace AI, but at the same time, I'm wary because we have AI hallucinations. You don't know what is true, what is not true. So I always want to be wary of it.
hmm,
So I think I was lucky with regards to research because I've been teaching at a local shloka class, Acton shloka class for the past 15 years. And
hmm,
so to teach the kids, I have to do research. So I am the
hmm,
person who tells the story. So I do have as a shloka class, we have a good reservoir of stuff we have all collected over the years. So I feel that helped me a little. I didn't have to delve too much, research too much, but there was some research I had to do because I wanted to make sure the stories were right. I checked in with people to make sure, is it authentic? Is it from our
hmm,
Puranas, our Itihasas? I know there are different variations, versions of the same story. So am I
hmm,
saying it wrong if I say this version compared to the other version? So there was a lot of talking to people, asking their opinion. I actually, the beginning drafts, I gave it to a lot of different people from different, various audiences of different age
okay.
groups to see how are they responding to it. There were people, I actually went to someone called Ramuji, who is a disciple of Murlidhar Swamigal, and he read it, and he says he does wonderful discourses. And he gave me a little tip, and he said, always think about how are you projecting or the god. I
Hmm,
think that was not something I was thinking about. I wanted to make it playful, so then I had to step back and like, okay, because this is an
hmm,
image of the god I'm projecting, right? Even if it's kids, we want to make sure we are not deviating from our traditions. So those were some things that I had to rethink, do a little research. If you read, I think you've read parts of the book, kids who
yeah,
read
yeah,
it,
yeah. I've read
they
the
were
book.
the kids take different forms, so they become animals. They've become so I had to do research on how far can a mouse see, how does a mouse, what are the noises these mice do. So I had a lot of little things that I had to research, so that was interesting. I learned a lot, so it was fun.
No, as you were telling that somebody suggested to you that be cautious about how you are projected the god. So Ganesha in your book feels warm, humorous, and approachable. So how did you decide what voice Ganesha should have?
I think it just happened. I don't think I went with a plan of action. As I wrote it, things developed, and then I went back and reworked some parts. Initially,
Hmm,
when I initially started writing it, if you see many of the stories we have about any of the gods, right, Hindu gods, it's always a narration
hmm,
of the events that happened. There are chapter books. We have Ganesha on Ganesha. I have multiple in my house. It's always, how did the story happen? Ganesha did this, Ganesha met this, Shiva was there. So I was like, that. So my initial was the kids watching the story unfold. That was the initial idea. And then I have to thank my daughter for this. I shared the book. At that point, she was, I think, 14. And she looked at me and she
okay.
said, Mom, Amma, not mom, Amma, she said, there's no movement. You need the kids to actually have something to do, because then otherwise you're not going to catch the audience. So then I had to
Hmm,
go back, and thankfully I had written only one story, the first story at that point. So I went
okay.
back, reimagined how the kids would actually be involved in the story, but at the same time, not dilute the story. I know I took a little bit of creative liberties with the stories, but at the same time, the essence of the story should not go. The ending of the original story should remain. So those were some things I had to think about and work on.
I saw that in this book, the cultural memory for the next generation is very well packaged with entertainment, and that's what works for kids.
Thank you.
Right?
I really tried hard that I should reach the next generation, because that was the goal, right? That was what was motivated me and inspired me to write. So I really tried to get. So one of couple of the kids that I shared it with, I had all kids of all age groups when I initially shared the draft, and one kid said, maybe a joke here would help. And I was like, oh,
Okay.
yeah, I should add. I did have a few, one or two, but then I decided, oh, you know what? Dad jokes make these kids laugh and they think it's
Hmm.
cringy. So why not add one or two here? So I did a little, so I wordplay and things like that. I tried to get a sense of what they would like, and I added it in. So a couple of
Hmm.
things are very intentionally added. Some words are very intentionally added. I did add a few big words here and there, because I felt when we read a book, we need to learn
Hmm.
something. So a
Right.
word here, a word there is good to learn. So that's how we learned when I was young. So
Right. Right. So, are you a first generation person who shifted from India to
yes,
USA? So,
yes,
if I have to ask, okay. Hmm. Yes.
I've been here 25 years. I got
Okay.
married. I came here. I did my master's here, and I've been working.
Hmm. So, if I have to ask you, what is your understanding that how Hindu festivals and stories function differently for kids growing up outside India?
What do you mean by Hindu functions, Hindu festivals and stories?
I mean, uh, as in India, I- I'm I'm seeing it all around,
Okay.
and I may be of yes, I'm seeing it all around, and I may be of any strata of society. I'm seeing it all around, even if there is no roti kapda makan, but religion is something that is
Yeah,
around me
it's
at all the times, in my rituals, in my everything. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So
So yeah,
so
I get your
in
question
you
now.
yes.
Yeah, it's like if it's Ganpati's birthday, Ganesh Chaturthi, everybody, you'll know whether you believe in it or not, you know it's happening around you.
Yes, yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
So that is definitely not there. But ever since I've come for the past 25 years, things have changed. Now,
Hmm,
schools recognize, regular schools recognize Diwali. So Deepavali
hmm,
is, they have a day off. Many school districts have given a day off for Diwali. People recognize, understand, and I think we have a very rich Hindu community everywhere we go. So there are organizations that celebrate Navratri. There are organized. So there's Bhangra, and then there's I'm Tamilian, so we do Golu. So we have it's lot of. So if you are with or in touch with some Indian community, I'm sure you will be exposed. As kids, they are exposed to things, even though it's not as prevalent. Like it's not definitely not India, but it is there.
hmm,
It's getting more and
hmm,
more popular. So most, like many of my American colleagues, they know, oh, Diwali is coming, and they'll wish me. So they are aware of things that, but again, it depends on which part of America you live in, and how big the Indian community is there.
hmm, hmm. Actually, what I liked about the way you have framed the whole book is that it's a puzzle box adventure. Hmm. Otherwise, Hinduism, you connect Hinduism with rituals. So it is connection of Hinduism with something fun. And that is how you make a thing popular. And that is
I'm
how you get
hoping.
into psyche of the kids.
So yes, I wanted kids. See, they yes, the festivals are fun, right? We all have
Hmm.
all these festivals we follow. We have all these traditions, rituals we follow. But the core of Hinduism, we have certain values, and I think I wanted the kids to associate with the values,
Hmm.
associate with in the process. If they like Ganesha's birthday, hey, awesome, we can celebrate Ganesha's birthday. But they're all entwined, and I wanted them, I was trying, I don't know if I've been successful, to incorporate and show them the richness of the Hindu traditions, how much knowledge we have in our Puranas, our Itihasa. So that's something I really wanted to communicate, and hopefully I
Hmm.
have. If not, there are other books, we'll work on that.
Yeah, actually, as an adult, it's really fun to read kids' books. Yeah, मतलब actually I like the cover of the you made this.
So I
I
didn't.
really like
My illustrator did. Nandini Ramanathan is my
I really
illustrator.
like the cover of the
Thank
book.
you.
I really liked it.
We
So
were going back and forth. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but we were going back
no.
and forth. She had done multiple versions of this, and then I said, I want puzzle pieces. It has to be there. That is the theme of the book. So she's very patient, and she really worked with me. I was very lucky to have found Nandini and worked with her. So
Hmm. So in the book, you dedicate the book to your kids and to your party. So how much of
yes.
the story comes from your personal family experience?
My kids were the one who obviously motivated me to write, because that was the reason I even thought of writing the book. So my
Hmm.
party is my grandmother. She's my mother's mother. This
Okay.
particular party is my mother's mother. She passed away a year and a half ago. Actually, it's going to be two
Okay.
years now. February of 2024, she passed away. She was a wealth of knowledge about our Hindu culture, Hindu traditions, Hindu god stories. So there are many times, as when I started teaching at the shloka class, I would, and she was very tech savvy. So she at
Hmm.
87, 85, 87, she would always send us voice notes on WhatsApp. So I would send her a
Okay.
voice note saying, Pati, what is this? What story? Do you know what story there is? And then she will respond. She will do her research.
Okay.
If she didn't know, she will go look, read it up, and then she'll come back with no, and she'll say in her Tamil, illadi இப்படிதான் பண்ணணும். So there's like it's wonderful, because I really had a lot of conversations with her about the book. So not the book, I don't think she knew about the book, but about the stories of our Hinduism. And so I felt, especially if she had been alive, she'd have really, it would have taken her 3 months to read the book, but she'd have eventually, she knows English, but she
Hmm.
was not very fluent with it. So, but she
Okay.
would have uh, read through it, taken her time to read through it. And then she is the kind, she used to do the Sudoku every day to keep her brain active.
Oh,
So I
that's
would have
good.
told, she would have, if there was a word she didn't know, she'd have looked it up in the dictionary and then read through it. So,
Okay.
yes.
In fact, your mom is also an Insta star.
Yes, my mom is. Her handle is Raji Ramprasad, I believe. And then we are very enterprising women. She and my grandmom was the one who started it. So very enterprising. And I'm very glad to have them in my life.
So, uh, seeing the literature now at this stage, what do you think that there's missing in children's stories in publishing today?
I don't know. I did do a little research, not too much,
When
but
your
I
kids
do
were
feel
there.
like we want more.
But now you are a writer. Now you have to
I,
spot that vacuum as a writer.
yeah, I don't know. I I don't have, I don't think I have, maybe a little more knowledge I have to, but I find a lot of Hinduism depicted, represented in our in books, both children and adult, and I really enjoy that. I did actually, as I was working on publicity for the book, I went and looked up other books, and I find there are a lot of quite a handful of children's Hindu literature, fiction, if you go on to Amazon, but I don't think there are a
Hmm.
lot of chapter books. There are a lot of picture
Hmm.
books, little words, not middle grade books. That's one of the things I found. I know Srimati Sudha Murthy has a lot of children's book that are kind of middle grade with chapters. So,
Hmm.
but not a lot there. So I would recommend people to please write more if you have the time and the energy to devote to it.
Yeah, I too am hoping and I'm praying that this is the beginning of a larger universe of Hindu stories telling from your side.
Oh, I would love it. I have a plan of action. So I do want to do one book a god. So that is the goal. So that's why it's a series. We have a lot of gods. So I'm not going to be,
Yeah.
I know the information is there. The subject matter is there. I'm not going to have a dearth of any of that. But definitely, I feel it's just a way to get to know God. And I know one of the kids who read it came back and said, I am so happy. 7-year-old girl who said, I love that you added a shloka in the end. So that was actually a very crucial decision point when I was working on the book. Should I add a shloka? Should I not add a shloka? And then people in my family had multiple viewpoints.
Okay.
And then I was like, we were going back and
Imagine
forth.
having a debate over this.
Yeah. So, and then I had a version with the shlokam, version without the shlokam, two endings for me to look at how to go about it. And I said, I do want, in the end, I know people in my family, 2 or 3 of them are like, oh, do we want it? And then I said, I want to leave the kids with something.
Hmm.
We all say shlokams. We all have
Hmm.
these little shlokams that we say, we've learned as when we were kids. So maybe leave
Hmm.
one little tidbit for them. If they want to hold
Hmm.
on to it, let them. And at the same time, give the meaning of it, because then it makes more sense. I don't know if
Hmm.
I was ever taught the meaning when I grew up. We were taught the shlokams. So we learn it. That's it. But it's interesting, and I don't think I questioned it. I don't think my generation ever questioned things like that. So I was this was very I felt when you give the meaning, especially in kids in today's generation, that makes sense to them. Then it if it makes sense, then they decide, oh, maybe I can say it. So that
Hmm.
was one of the reasons I wanted to add. So the hope is that every book there will be whatever God I choose, then there will be a shlokam about that God, and little something that the kids can hold on to as they go through their life.
Hmm. Actually, I think the way you were having discussions to have this or not to have this, I mean, we have forgotten what it was like to be a kid.
Yes,
What were you very
absolutely.
amused with?
Yeah. No, no,
So it's a
absolutely.
discovery of kid within yourself while writing a kid's book, I
No,
think.
it was, and actually, Anamika, to tell you the truth, when I first wrote it, right, my first draft, I do have it somewhere on my Google Drive. Now, if I
Okay.
go back and look at it, I had written it like an adult book. I had written like the wind flows and this happened, and then I was like, we don't need to explain so much to kids. Like kids get it. For adults, we need that detailed narration. That's important in an adult book, and I read a
Hmm.
lot of adult books. I actually
Hmm.
now on Libby I listen to a lot of books. So I was like,
Hmm.
oh, I need to cut all that. That's all extra. We don't need to have all those extra things in. We just need what the kids want. And then I had to go back and read. I actually went and read middle grade kids books to see, oh,
Okay.
what is the language there, how should I go about writing it. So that
Hmm.
was one of the research things I had to do. How many words should I have, how many chapters should I have? And then the planning of the book. Is it too many words, or we don't want to bore the kids? We want to keep them engaged. And then do I add illustrations? Do I not add illustrations? So all these questions are, I never thought it would be so complicated to write. I thought, oh, just write a book. It's not like that. It is a huge, long drawn process, but it's very, very, I'm very happy that I did do it. I'm very happy. I'm hoping I'll do more. But I'm very happy. And I've been getting good feedback from children and parents. So I think I've I've actually hit my target audience, and they're getting what I want to convey.
But do you think that with kids getting more and more exposure, the writing for kids literature, this game is actually changing? Because as you said, that you should not consider kids to be dumb. They are
Yeah,
intelligent. They are
yeah,
exposed to things,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a psychologist, so I teach theories of development and stuff like that. So kids think differently.
Mm.
They don't think like us. So we need to start thinking about what is it that actually sparks that interest for them. So that's also something I was constantly trying to gauge. I don't know if I was successful, but I'm trying to gauge, oh, what would spark their interest. And um,
Mm.
I have had quite a few age groups of kids reading it. And so I was like, okay, so they do connect with this story. I had some kids who didn't like Neil, some kids who loved Neil. So it's just, but that's what the story should do, right? When you have a
That's
book.
a
No, when you have
yeah.
a book, I know after I finish reading a book, I'm like, I didn't like this character, or I really like this particular character. And that that connection, emotional connection, is what
Yes,
makes us have that, like, thinking about a book, or revisiting a book, rereading it. All of that is because of that emotional connection that we have. And strong connections are good, strong emotions are good, whether you like or you don't
absolutely.
like, it still has made an impact.
Ah, it still has an impact. And
Yes.
as you were telling me that in US, many of the kids have exposure to Greek literature, Greek kids literature. So, have you received feedback of any non-Hindu student reading this book, and what has been
Not
his or
yet,
her?
but I did share it with a few of my non-Hindu friends. So I'm waiting
Okay,
to hear back from them. So I had one of my colleagues who started reading it, and he said, "Oh, it's very readable." So he was familiar with Ganesha. That's about it. He doesn't know more, but he said, "Oh, it's very readable. I've just started reading it." So I don't
that
know
would be
yet.
very interesting to see,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So I don't know yet. I think it takes time for kids, but a lot of my colleagues at work are open. A lot of people are open, so they wanted to buy it for their kids to expose them to another culture. So I'm hoping I'll get feedback.
Yeah, that's true. That's the true meaning of diversity.
Yes, absolutely. No, no, absolutely. And I'm very lucky to be in a part of the world where am in that particular diverse population.
Sure, sure. So, if a Hindu American parent wants to raise a culturally rooted kids, what role do you think books play compared to temples or community?
I think you can't just depend on books. Books are
Hmm.
important, but it is
Hmm.
all of these things together that
Hmm.
will have an impact. Because I know a lot of kids here go to Balavihar, Chinmaya Mission. So there's a lot of things that they do. Parents
Hmm.
having exposed them to certain traditions, certain things they do in the house, our Indian, what you wear. So books will give, definitely add to it, because books are, it's so, books kind of reach your imagination, that
Hmm.
sometimes, and I can tell you, not just books, a lot of the kids I work with and I teach in the shloka class, they watch videos. They watch videos on
Hmm.
Ganesha. They watch videos on, so a lot of these movies out there, animation. So those also have an impact on them. So books will definitely add to the fabric of this, but I don't think they will stand alone. They cannot stand alone. Ours
Hmm.
is
Sure.
the civilization, or now where we are, it's so complex. So we need definitely everything to add to help this particular child grow holistically in as a Hindu
Hmm.
kid.
So, share some feedbacks that you have received up till now about the book.
I think I shared the one with the kid. I had a little girl, 7 year old, who said she loved the shloka. And she said
Hmm.
she loved the big words that I added in because she learned new words. So that was wonderful. I did have a 11-year-old boy who reached out to me and sent me an email saying, "Oh, my first
Okay.
fan mail." I was so happy. And he was like, "I really love the book. Please, my mom told me you might write more. I want you to write more. Can you please send me a book when you write more?" So that those are the things that kind of motivate you as a writer. I think they just really, I was so happy to receive those feedbacks. And I've had kids who just read through it and they're like, "Oh, this was great." So that
Okay.
was very, yeah, I was very happy. I still
So, what
waiting
is the age
for
group
special.
that it is hitting the most, Vese? What is the age
I
group
think
that's like?
6 to 10 year olds. Six may
Okay.
be a little young, so parents may need to read it with them or read it to them.
Hmm.
But that's again something as parents we do, right? We read to our kids all the
Yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah.
So, but by the
Hmm.
time they're 8, 9, 10, I think they should be reading it on their own.
Hmm. Hmm. So, I think when you go through. I was just imagining that if I go through this book as a kid, that what will fascinate me. I thought that uh, the glitter of all the Western literature I have, I would be fascinated by this thing. Oh, my culture also has magic. My culture also
Absolutely.
has adventure.
Yes.
I was left with this feeling actually.
Yeah, I know.
And then,
Possibly, I'm sure because and I think for many kids, having that representation of their culture in literature is very, very important. It makes them feel like I am being seen. There
yeah,
is
then it's
representation.
also cool. It's also
Yes, it
cool.
is cool. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
And one thing I did want, I think one of the goals, I don't know if it's the first goal I had, but one of my goals was all of us have a relationship with God. Okay, it's our personal relationship. Whatever
Right.
you
Right.
choose, if you choose to believe, then we all have a relationship. So I wanted to kind of send that message without being obvious that you can choose to have a relationship with God, and it's a different kind of relationship, whatever. Sometimes we get mad with God, sometimes we're happy with God, we have those talks. So I felt
Mm.
this will help them connect with God on their own terms. It's not on my
Right.
terms, it's not on
Right.
your terms,
Right.
it's your own terms, because that's your
Mm.
connection with the higher power, whatever God you choose, if you choose to believe in a God. So I think
Right.
that
Right.
was really important.
Very beautifully put. And actually, that thing evolves with our situation and evolves as we grow older. Our
Absolutely,
connection and our
absolutely.
relationship with God.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's personal.
Mm.
You cannot have what I have with God or my chosen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you hope children carry with them after closing the final page?
That they want to read the next one. So that means
Good
I need to
one.
get my that means I need to get my act together and start writing. So I don't know if that one I like, but no, I do enjoy it. But it's a process. But I do want them to come back to reading it. I think that's what it is. I have books in my library that I don't mind opening it again and reading. There's so many books I've read multiple times, like Harry Potter or even the Percy Jackson series. I love them. Amish Tripaঠি's Meluha series. I love those series, and I take it
Hmm.
out and I'll read them. And I've come to a point, I've read them so many times that I know what it is. So sometimes I just go like, I'm feeling bored, and I open the page, and wherever I am, I start reading. So I want kids to have that connection to the book where I can go back and reread it, and every time I read, I get something else out of it. And I think that's what a good book does to a has that relationship with the reader.
So as you have discovered the author within yourself, so would you stick to kids literature or do you want to expand your ambit?
I don't know. My daughter was like, "You should write an adult book." I'm like, "Let's get through this first, and then we will go to the adult book section, adult book field." That's a completely different genre. But I never ever in my life thought I would be writing a middle grade chapter book, and I definitely feel it's a huge accomplishment. Putting down 20,000 words is not easy.
For sure.
um, you think it's easy, but it's
I
not. And
agree with
now,
that.
and
I
every
agree
time
with
I
that.
now pick
Many
up
every parent will read this book.
no, and every
Whosoever
time
kid is
now
reading the book. Hmm.
no, every time now I actually pick up. I've stopped reading books per se, in the sense of picking up a book. I like listening to them on
Hmm.
audiobooks. But every time I read a book, listen or read, the value I have for that author is completely different, how after the experience of writing the book. So no, I really see what they would have gone through, and especially with a children's book, it's only 20,000 words, and with adult books it's huge, and I'm like, that means that much more effort has gone into writing, editing, rereading. So it's I really value them. So my
Yeah, I think
appreciation for
for
all
kids
authors
book it
has
would
gone
have
up.
taken more time.
What is it?
For kids book it would have taken more time. For firstly you have to come into that zone.
Yes. Yeah. And I
Then only
think
you
I
can write. Hmm.
found my voice as I went to the second and third story. Initially, I didn't really find my voice. I was struggling a little bit, but after I came to the second and third story, I found my voice, and then I had to go back and refine my voice in that first story because I'm like, this doesn't sound okay. So it was interesting. And working with the illustrator Nandini was great because then when she drew something, I'm like, oh, that was not what I wanted to say. So then we had to rethink certain parts that I put in or the images. So, and I really wanted to give kids, especially in America, a reference point.
Hmm.
What is it that we refer to when we say Ganesha, or how does Ganesha look? How am I imagining Gajamukhasura to look? So I wanted to give them a reference point, which is why I was insistent on adding illustrations. I've
Write
had some
illustration, right?
feedback. Yeah, I had some feedback that maybe I should have more illustrations. So we'll see how that goes for the next book.
Yeah. So any of your favorite excerpts from the book? You can read that, please, for
Oh,
our audience.
oh man, it's hard. I was looking through the book and I'm like, whoa, which one should I? Actually, I do have one. I was thinking, I had a feeling you may ask me. So I was thinking about it. I think I will do the reading of from chapter 3, if that's okay. Maybe a
Sure,
minute or two.
sure,
Is that okay?
sure, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Neil saw a soft light around them, and he felt himself growing back to his normal size. The lights grew brighter and brighter until Neil and Maya could barely see anything. Holding Ganesha's hand made him feel safe. In the background, he heard chanting, which reminded Neil of his mom's yoga videos. When the brightness faded, Neil and Maya realized they were standing in snow. Beaming, Ganesha said, "Welcome to Kailash, the home of my parents, Shiva and Parvati." Kailash? Where is that? Neil asked, looking at the snowy mountains around them. They were standing on the highest peak. The pure white snow sparkled in the sunlight. Kailash is in the Himalayas, Neil, replied Ganesha. Wow, the Himalayas, thought Neil. But then, why wasn't he feeling cold? His body felt weird, as if he was in someone else's skin. Ganesha, why do I feel strange? He asked while looking down at himself. He was shocked to see that he had brown fur and tiny paws. He tried to scream, but all that came out was a squeak. He heard an odd noise that was like a cross between a baby crying and a cat mewing and looked up. He saw a beautiful peacock standing in front of him, making that peculiar sound. Then the peacock spoke in Maya's frightened voice. Neil, where are you? Why do I feel different? What's happening? The peacock looked straight at him and asked, Neil, are you the enormous mouse I see? A
Hmm.
mouse? Neil exclaimed, staring at the messy brown fur covering his body. Don't worry, Maya. You're a beautiful peacock. And Neil, don't look so scared, said Ganesha as he walked towards them. This is from chapter 3.
Actually, the audio version should come soon, actually.
No, it's wonderful. So I my sister actually, when I initially wrote the book, she would read each chapter to my nieces. I have three of them. Now they're much older, 14, 11, and I think 8, but they were younger then. So she would actually audio tape herself reading it, and I would hear their
Okay.
responses when she read every chapter. So it was really
Oh, so
good because
sweet.
then it would give me like, oh, they laughed at this part or they didn't laugh at this part. So it was really good feedback to get.
All the kids of your family grew up while you wrote this
Yeah, yeah, the
book.
three of them did. My daughter and son read it, but they are much older now. So, but it's really, I'm very glad I did end up writing the book. So it
Actually,
was
that's
a
a nice way, the way you told that she recorded it while she was narrating the story to them, and
Yes.
then you
Yeah,
gave
no,
them.
that is all on her. She's like, I kept saying, what did they say? What did they say? So she's like, you know what? I'll just record myself reading it to them and then I'll send it to you so you figure it out. No, but also as you're reading it, she would say, this doesn't sound good, or you need to fix this. So I think that was also good because when you read it out, it sounds different than when you actually write it, right? So it was a good way. And I think that's definitely something I will be doing, reading it out, so I can see what works or what doesn't work.
Hmm. So, with the experience that you have now, so how long your next books will take?
I cannot let it take 8 years. And I lose my audience. Come on, they are going to get older. They're going to then they won't be wanting. They won't be interested in reading the book. So definitely, I hope not that. I think now that I kind of have a flow, a sense of how I want to go about it. I think that was the biggest issue with the first book. I didn't know. It was a experiment, an adventure. But now I know what is the pattern, or not pattern, but how should I organize the book. So I think that is going
Hmm.
to really help me move faster.
Yeah. So, hoping to see many more books come
I
from
hope
you.
so. We'll see. I think Ganesha,
So,
if he removes the obstacles, then we are good. We can continue on many more.
sure, sure. Below in the description, we have given the links for the Amazon and Garud. So, viewers, please go there and get your book. So, Pavitra ji, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
Gallivanting with
you.
Ganesh is truly a beautiful bridge between story, culture, and childhood wonder, I guess.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Anamika. It's been a pleasure talking with you on this cold,
Thank you
snowy
so
day in Boston.
much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.